Welcome to another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. Of course, I'm your host, JJ Kitchen. Again, we'll have in Harry and Eric tonight to talk about the crazy game that we witnessed yesterday. Obviously, we had a live reaction show yesterday. I was certainly spirited yesterday with the amount of flags. I mean, just the color yellow seems to be all over the place, not just on Pitt's actual uniforms, but on the field. We'll go over that here tonight, talk about what we saw, what can be corrected, what needs to improve. Obviously, hearing from Harry and Eric will be truly great to hear their thoughts and their words. But also, too, it's now on to NC State as well. The homecoming game, Pitt 5-2, certainly in the thick of things when it comes to the ACC and possibly the ACC championship game. Pitt is still very much involved. A number of teams across the board. The only remaining team that we're really out front that had only had one loss or no losses was Miami, and they lost to Louisville this past weekend. The only remaining undefeated team is Georgia Tech, which is pretty crazy to think about here in terms of the ACC, but it is a deeper conference this year. I tried telling people that, and it'll be fun to talk about with the guys here tonight. As you guys can imagine, the show is also sponsored by Colonial Beer, located 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA, 15102. Tremendous people. Anytime you can help out a small business, please do so, but especially when they're Pitt guys, especially like Bill and Alan, who are truly two of the best. Make sure you go see them today at Colonial Beer, located 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA, 15102. Stop down there before you go to your tailgates this weekend. It's homecoming weekend, baby. It's at its first NC State at Acrisure Stadium. Make sure you're ready to go. The show is also sponsored by Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson, an attorney on your side. Again, call them at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Brian Thompson truly is one of the best. You guys have gotten to meet him, easy to talk to. But unlike the larger law firms, Brian cares about you, the individual, and your results. He'll guide you through the process from beginning to end. Any questions you have, he will guide you through them and answer those questions. If he doesn't have the answers, he'll put you in front of somebody that does know the answers. Again, Brian comes from a great family and has a great family and does a lot of work in the community. Make sure you get a hold of Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson. Again, at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Last but not least, the K Collection, the coffee brand by Austin Kitchen, Mount Lebanon alum, Coastal Carolina Chanticleer national champion, and now in the playoffs with the Seattle Mariners, one game away from the World Series. Go to www.thekingscraft.com. Again, I am personally an AK Espresso type of guy. One of these in the morning before I head to my office and get my day started. In the banking world, it truly is the best. All I need is one of these things, and I'm like the Energizer Bunny from hell. It gets me going in the morning. Cannot tell you enough. The AK Espresso and other brands he certainly has on there. Go to www.thekingscraft.com. Before we get into the comments here tonight, make sure you guys subscribe down below. Hit the like button down below. They're two easy things. They're both easily free. But more importantly, it gets more people connected to the conversation. Tonight, plenty of comments are already flowing in. If you want to get your question to the top and you want to ask Harry or Eric a question, make sure you use the super chat button, and we'll get you up on the screen. And bring now to the stage Harry and Eric into the show tonight. Harry, how are you, sir?
Feeling good. 3 in a row. It's great to see Pitt rolling right now. It was ugly yesterday, but a win is a win, and I'm ready to talk some football.
Amen. Eric, how are you, sir? I know you were certainly looking at the film and breaking things down. How are you tonight on this fine evening, sir, and especially after a Pitt game and a Pitt win?
Listen, when you win games like that, it's the best of both worlds. You get the W, and there are so many teachable moments for that coaching staff. And it was a good weekend for Pitt. I like when you win ugly games. So,
and it kind of leads me, and that leads me really into the beginning of this discussion here tonight. It was an ugly win. I think from all intents and purposes, you watch this football team. I think a year ago, a game like this happens, especially in this portion of the season. I think more than likely it would have been a loss. But what we saw out of this team was perseverance. The amount of players that are out currently with injuries, I mean, they have been snake bitten by injuries on numerous occasions. Harry, to start it off, when you watch this football game yesterday, it was, in your words, just yellow everywhere. Talk a little bit about what you saw and, how did Pitt really come out with a victory, especially, too, You would have thought 30-13, it was a blowout, but in reality, we were on the edge of our seats the entire game.
It was an interesting game. I personally, I didn't think there was any point I felt Syracuse could come back once Pitt went up. The sad part were some of the points that were left on the board because of the countless flags. In particular, the long Boozy Turner run, which was beautiful, and it was negated by a questionable. I think it was a questionable hold that they called.
Yeah.
What I did like was I like the defense stepping up. You have a combined 14 combined tackles from Cam Lindsey and Nick Lappy. I like you last week. My neighbor was married, so I was at a wedding, and I was able to watch some of the end. But so I've watched the game twice since. But my son Max texted me and told me we're losing linebackers and we're worried about the depth, and I'm sitting there and I was really concerned. But um, bottom line was this was a team we should have beat. I think the score would have been a lot more lopsided without all of the flags. Syracuse nearly had just as many, I think 13 total penalties on Pitt, which is an abomination. Syracuse almost had an equal amount. So that officiating crew was hell bent on throwing that yellow towel. But overall, honestly, it's amazing what a loss of a quarterback has done to Cuse. I thought they looked like a really substandard team to me. I felt at no point they would make a dramatic comeback. And God bless Ricky Collins, the quarterback. Man, he was brutal. I don't know how else to say it. He can run. The kid can really run like a deer. But man, half of those passes, I'm wondering if he did a few shots of Uzo before the game. I mean, they were rough. So point going back to again, and Eric always says it best. These are teachable moments. This was a win. You got the win. It's a road W on top of that. But man, oh man, they got to really look at that film. They got to clean that up. Narduzzi really has to clean that up because the schedule now is going to kick in. It ain't going to get easier. And I think it's like I said, they really got to work on that.
Couldn't agree with you more, and especially till you talk about the passes from Ricky Collins. They went back and forth. Obviously, the starting quarterback, Ricky Collins, did start. For whatever reason, Pitt just has great luck against Syracuse quarterbacks. He threw 3 interceptions in this game. Luke Carney came into this game, a true freshman. Clearly, the playbook was extremely limited of what they were running, and then they put Ricky Collins back in the game, started to use his legs a little bit. To your point, even Harry, I mean, they had 76 yards of total offense in the first half. Eric, when you watch this football game, and to Harry's point, just flags galore, they were truly dominant on the defensive side of the football, but you lose a lot of guys. You talk about the teachable tape. Talk a little bit about that, of what you saw when you were watching this football game, the teachable moments that this football team needs to get better at very quickly if they want to continue to win, especially against NC State, Stanford, and then your 3 treacherous games. You look at a team like Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami all will be in the top 10 at the end of the season. Pitt will be facing 3 top 10 teams in a row after the bye. But talk about the teachable tape, which is important now to learn.
Yeah. There was a lot of good and bad with that. To reference the flag that Harry was talking about, it was on KJ on the holding call that brought that Boozy Turner run back. That's just honestly, it was a ticky-tack call because I thought he played, and we can show that here in a little bit, that his form was good. I really don't think I would change anything from that. There was some more of like Mason kind of, I don't want to say coming back to earth and stuff, but maybe just playing like an 18-year-old. But he also then made some great throws. You know what I mean? He did some great things. I just think it's the attrition of the year that they clean up its techniques. It's nothing major. So it's techniques. It's situational football, things like that. So, and then there was definitely a teachable moment with Mason's interception in the first half, his first one. But it's a lot of technique. I think it just kind of fell off a little bit. I think that they definitely would need to button it up for that last 3 games. But you got 2 games now to get ready, and then those guys that are getting ready, as we're probably going to talk about, are backups, which in the long run could be a good thing, right? These guys are getting backups. We think we spoke about the attrition a few weeks ago, especially at the linebacker position. Now it's reared its head. Then now they have to be ready. And I think, if they can play well, with those teachable moments. Again, technique, sound ball. Then I think they'll be good for the long run.
Yeah, and to a lot of what Harry was saying beforehand and what Eric just mentioned here, the teachable moments, the attrition of what you're seeing on the defense side of the football. But Harry, when you look at the offensive side of the football, which is pretty crazy, is they had a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the football, which you would think, okay, hey, they got to struggle at least a little bit. But the defense, to your point, there was no point in time where I said, okay, Syracuse has a chance to win this football game. There's a reason why they had so many 3-and-outs. When you watch this offense, though, it was really the first, it's the third game of Mason Heinchel. As we talked about before, we mentioned on this show last week, there will be moments when you say, okay, hey, we definitely have a true freshman quarterback playing. But in this game yesterday, I think you saw really a flashback to what you saw early on in the season with the offensive line play. Then you saw just confusion at the quarterback position. Mason Heinchel talked about it after the game, how there was multiple different looks that they saw, especially on the back end, things that had him certainly thinking a lot more. But with the pressure up front, the lack of protection, looking at down the field, not seeing as many open receivers, but also just the amount of procedure penalties. I mean, talk about that a little bit, just the offense, what you saw that you thought, okay, this offense is struggling for this reason. And obviously you can imagine, again, we talked about the flags, the procedure penalties. Go into a little bit about that of what you saw, because it was almost like the third and fourth quarter was truly hard to watch. And it wasn't because of the defense. It's just the offense was just so anemic because of just shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, it was just repetitive at one point.
So when I think of Cade Bell's offense, I think of something that's rhythmic. And if you want to go back to what good looks like, think about some of those drives against Florida State. Right.
Yeah.
BC's an abomination right now. I'll let them off. But against Florida State, we looked at a well-oiled machine. So first, you have the offensive line that had a rough game, in particular, Kendall Stanley. And I threw a lot of praise on him twice in a row. I'll call him out now. He had a rough game. Second of all, again, we talk about a rhythmic offense. It seemed like we would take 2 steps forward and then 3 back. You know what I mean? It with all these procedure penalties. And it was maddening, like I said, because what that did was nullify countless points off the board. And particularly, you know what I mean? And we stalled in the red zone a few times. And so it really was. Now, that being said, I really read into a lot of what Mason said. And let me say this to the Pitt fans listening. Mason has been incredible. He's infused this team 3 wins in a row. But JJ, as you alluded, he's 18 and he's a freshman, and we're getting into the nitty gritty of the schedule. I'm almost glad in a sense that he struggled a bit against Cuse. I mean, and let me give him some credit, though. I know he threw an interception. He was running for his life on a lot of occasions. And this could have been one where he turned it over multiple times, fumbles, interceptions. Overall, he did fairly well. But that being said, I think what we saw against Cuse, you got to prepare for moving forward, because the schedule's only going to get more difficult. And you mentioned those 3 killer games at the end of the season. Maybe this is going to be a great film evaluation for him to learn from that pressure. But I really hope, heading into the NC State game, in particular, the offensive line cleans it up a bit. None, like I said, we scored enough to win, but it was like a car that was stalling repeatedly. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, and it really mentioned to the point of, what Pat Narduzzi said after the game. He's like, almost like the guys weren't happy. And in a way that, a lot like, Eric, you played at a high level. When you don't play your best game and you still find a way to win, that's great. But also, too, you're happy to go into that locker room and say, hey, the players aren't jumping up and down happy as hell after a just display of just sloppy football. And it's good to know this football team is concerned about winning. They want to win. But when they go in that locker room, they say, guys, we won today, but we didn't play at the highest level what we usually play at. This isn't Pitt football, what we're looking at. The amount of penalties, over 116 yards, total yards for penalties. Do you think, Eric, that's a good thing? That, hey, they're not happy about it. They're willing to make those corrections. Is this a place and time to where you say, hey, I'd rather have a bad game against Syracuse than a bad game against Notre Dame? Is this possibly a good thing that catapults them into that next level as we go on the season here?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt. I mean, it's the buy-in mindset of the team as a collective. So what I mean is they know they won. They were in a dogfight, even though I agree with Harry. I don't at any point that I see or think that Syracuse was going to come back and win. They overcame certain situations that present themselves in the game. Um, they punted the ball late in the first half. Why Syracuse threw the ball 3 times in a row at the end of the half. But what they did then, KJ returns the punt and goes up 17-7. When they made it 23-13, Syracuse kicker doinks one right off the guy's head, almost like the onside kick, but he just beamed him right. And you see the momentum was happening. It kind of felt, Syracuse might actually come back and make a run with this, but the defense stepped up. There were just certain Mason throws a bad ball, but then he comes back with a couple dimes. The running game was stalling out. They didn't have a great average yard per catch, but you know what? When they needed it, they made some situational runs. It's that fighter's chance. When you play like that, you're close as a team. You're picking each other up at the times you need it the most, and that's when you go in the locker room with that mindset Harry's talking about. We won. But man, we got some stuff to clean up, and I think with the big game against NC State coming up, I believe they are focused. You guys know better than I. You're closer to the team than I, but when you hear stuff like that with the comments, they are focused, and they know that they got away with one, but they were fighting against Syracuse.
They got away with it, but they get the win. And as you brought up again, NC State, which is the homecoming game at Acrisure Stadium, a 3:30 kickoff at Acrisure Stadium on ESPN. Guys, again, when you look at this game, the offense, Desmond Reed, certainly not healthy. I think that they need to hold him out till he gets 100% healthy. I think these next 2 games, Pitt should be able to move through this schedule. These next 2 against NC State and Stanford with Jakirin Boozy-Turner and Joels Goff. They got to get Desmond Reed healthy because he was limping quite frequently during that game yesterday. We shift towards the defense side of the football, and Harry brought up a great point. Nick Lappy and Cam Lindsey, I'll tell you what, there are times that when you look at players, whether it's in football, baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter. Those guys are sitting there waiting for their opportunity especially because they have older guys or more veteran guys in front of them. I'll tell you what, Nick Lappy and Cam Lindsey had a hell of a ball game yesterday. Cam Lindsey led the football team in tackles. Nick Lappy was number 2. I mean, the kid is just a pure professional, especially after the football game when he went to the media and just talked about, hey, did you prepare any differently knowing you were going to start this week? And he goes, no, this is how I always prepare. Harry, when you watch 2 football players who've been waiting for their moment, waiting for an opportunity to get on the football field, what are your thoughts on Nick Lappy and Cam Lindsey and just filling in and just a number of guys? When you look at just the overall depth, the guys that finally got the call to get on the football field, and it's almost like things didn't even pause. I mean, the pressure from linebackers were still there. We'll talk a little bit about the D-lines, having a little bit of issues with the 4-man rush. But, man, when you look at, Nick Lappy and Cam Lindsey, just talk about a little bit just how well they played yesterday, but just the pure guts of going out there and being ready when their numbers are called.
So it's interesting. So again, going back, there's only been 3 or 4 players, right? They were walk-ons, and I saw their film, and I said, this is going to be a scholarship player. Jimmy Morrissey, George Aston come to mind in particular. I have funny stories about George Aston I could tell you when I interviewed him, but and then I remember Lappy is out of Northern Highlands High School out of New Jersey, and interacted with him when he committed. And I was watching his film, and he's one of these guys you're like, how did this kid not get a scholarship? And then he obviously earned one. He's been in the system. He's tough. He's physical. And, a night like yesterday, to Eric's point, all that PT is going to pay off down the line. When everybody else gets healthy, you have enhanced depth. He balled out. In terms of Cam Lindsey, I'm not shocked. Obviously we're a West Allegheny family. My son played for West State, was able to watch Cam play multiple times, actually drove to watch him play after he committed separately to a couple other teams too, high school teams. I'm not shocked. He was an incredible 2-way player for the Quips. I knew once he could focus strictly on one position, he'd be a standout, and I knew he'd be ready. So I'm just thrilled for both. These are both program guys that have been there, in particular Lappy, that have put their time in, and it's great to see him shine. And quite frankly, the way things are looking, we're going to need him next week against NC State. Because I haven't received an update yet. We'll find out during the week, but it's not looking promising that we're going to have our All-American Kyle Lewis and Rasheem Biles ready to go. And it's a shame because both those guys are heat-seeking missiles. But obviously the pressure is going to be on these two if they're inserted in the lineup again to really replicate their effort. But awesome night for both. That was probably the shining moment for me, is watching those two stand out. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and to your point, they truly were the shining moment. I agree with you. I really don't believe we're going to have Kyle Lewis or Rasheem Biles this coming week. They're going to be out. Certainly still up in the air whether Blaine Spires gets back. Obviously, Jaden Moore will not be back. Anything that I've heard is that after the bye week, because obviously the injury he went through during camp, it is certainly limited. And Eric, when you look at the defensive line, I thought the guy that presented the most pressure and the consistent pressure was Isaiah Neal. I thought Isaiah Neal really had himself a really good football game. But when you looked at a four-man rush the majority of the game, there were times that really Pitt struggled to even get remotely any pressure. And you saw it morely in the fourth quarter where, pretty much Syracuse gave up and said, look, we can't really run anything. Ricky, he throws 3 interceptions in this football game. He's certainly having struggles to throw the football anywhere. But then they start doing what normally teams do against Pitt, which is in that quarters coverage, that man press coverage. They're going right down the sidelines on the football field and throwing up jump balls, which there were some calls that were really ticky-tacky. There were some calls they missed. But when you saw that they were just throwing the ball up, it was starting to get really dicey at one point. But when you looked at the D-line, are you concerned about it at all when you're watching the film? With the lack of pressure, do you think it gets better? I thought, Sean Fitzsimmons still had a good game. Francis Brayu still had a good game. Okay. But there were times that you saw during this game, you're going, okay, there's a little bit of an issue here. We're not getting a lot of pressure with just a 4-man push.
A little bit, but you think, you're going to rush a quarterback with that athletic ability a little bit different. It's almost like a mush rush, if you will. So you're not going to come all out. You look at the defensive line, they just obliterated their run game. Their pursuit was still top notch. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching, you're talking about Neal, I'm watching Four, I'm watching James, I'm all these guys fits. These guys are just wrecking the line of scrimmage when there's a running play coming. And that's right there. I think that should still make Pitt fans feel very, very good about the defensive line. There was definitely inconsistencies rushing, the quarterback on passing downs. But again, I think I'm not going to make an excuse because it was inconsistent, but I think you do rush quarterbacks with that level of athletic ability a little bit different. And I thought the secondary played pretty well other than that. But like you're right, with the end of the game, they're doing what they can, right? They're just trying to either chuck it, get a play, get a penalty, trying to do whatever they can to muster up offense because they were struggling all game. I'm not concerned about the defensive line's pass rush, though it's something we want to watch against NC State. If it continues against NC State, and especially against Stanford, then I think it's something to concern as you're going into that stretch of those final 3 games.
I agree. And, going into some of the comments here, hope you have yourself a good night's sleep. From the sounds of it, you were in for a long night. Yeah, I did watch the game after it was done, after we did the live stream. 4.5 hours. I didn't go to bed till about 7:30 in the morning. Just watching all those flags again was absolutely ridiculous. It almost infuriated me even more just because of just how sloppy it was. Obviously it was funny. I was talking to Carlo a little bit, and he's like, brother, it's like, this is almost unwatchable. And a lot of the times it's not even just the players. The ACC refs can be well known for the reputation of how they call football games. I think we've seen that enough over the years. Marlon Barnes Truther here. Malachi Thomas had the block of the year on that run. Crushed the dude. Couldn't agree more on that Jakirian Boozy Turner run, man. Malachi Thomas was just waiting there and just basically took the soul from that kid. It was a hell of a hit. It was like something you'd see in NFL primetime. It was pretty crazy to watch that. But, of course, unfortunately, we had a callback. Will here, after 40 years of Troy Nunes at quarterback, I'm all for Pitt having luck against Syracuse QBs. I couldn't agree more.
That's a great comment. He's right. Yeah, that's great.
Pitt fan, hail to Pitt. Huge win for Pitt. JJ, it's important to take care of business these next 2 weeks and get ready to host College game day for Notre Dame. Brother, if that happens, I will be absolutely shocked. I don't think it will happen, but that will certainly be a lot of fun. But I am certainly with you in terms of taking care of business these next 2 weeks because Pitt needs to get it back and rolling as we should be. Adam, what are you hearing about the injuries? I think that one, we're not going to be, we're going to be without Kyle Lewis. That looked to be a pretty sustainable concussion that he had there. He looked very dazed, which is never a good sign. Unfortunately, it was a friendly fire. I would expect him to be out this week. We'll see more during the week and hear from Pat Narduzzi. We'll certainly hear more from, who could potentially come back from the injury list. I mean, you look across the ACC, the injury bug has gotten a lot of people, but Pitt has certainly been snake bitten the most of any of these teams. I think it goes across the board on a number of different levels, but I think it's a good thing for Pitt to try to get as many healthy guys as they can back. See if I'm missing any more comments here. Harry, go ahead.
If I just want to, Pitt fans that are listening, I'm going to give them some insider on two players. One, I interviewed Yassine Willis, the Syracuse running back, who's a big back. And it was one of these kids who basically told me how much he loved Pitt. He was in love with Pitt. And then Fran Brown got hired. And within 1 week, he scheduled an official visit. So I to Eric's point, we shut the running game down. I mean, Ricky Collins had 37 yards. That was their top rusher. So that made me happy. Brief little side note as well. People might not know this. Dan Villari came out as a quarterback out of high school out of New York. Believe it or not, Signetti at Pitt had offered him. And I had interviewed people, because they made it sound like he was going straight to Michigan. He actually was ready to visit Pitt. It looked like he would be our guy. And it looked like a Big Ben type player. He's a big guy. Yeah. He was had a strong arm. I looked at his film. And he was ready to come, and Michigan offered. And he immediately was one of these players that ran towards the largest offer, not looking at the roster. They had 2 All-Americans coming in, and he was a bubble 3-star. And I tried to, lightly explain that to him and go, did you look at who they have coming? He was hell-bent. He went 1 year later. He's gone. And next thing you know, he tortured Pitt a few years ago. They did defeat us. I don't know if you remember that game, but Dan Villari, the starting tight end for Syracuse yesterday, you're watching, if it wasn't for Michigan last minute offering, probably would have been a Pitt Panther. So one dejected us, and I was glad we stopped him last night, and one would have been a Panther, and Michigan kind of disrupted it.
It's pretty funny. I remember you actually talking about that. Again, he comes from a great family. You certainly had a lot of good conversations with them. Great young man, but it was to your point. The last year of Frank Signetti, all they did was run the Wildcat against us. I think they maybe threw the ball 3 times. That was the most painful game to watch as a fan because you knew exactly what was coming, but you literally could not stop it. And it was just the most brutal, but also, just a nail in the coffin for, really, not just Frank Signetti in that game, but the defense overall. I mean, you just saw a bunch of guys where was the effort truly there, where guys really bought into what was going on. There's certainly a lot of comments there, but anytime, I think I saw it during the week too, leading up to the game, they're like, man, that Dan Villari's still there. That guy that just absolutely just broke the soul of Pitt in 2023, which was pretty crazy. Mark, saw your comments regarding walking around campus today. JJ, have a freshman and a senior there. So happy this is a great university. So many accolades, and Gable and Green seeing the importance of athletics. Mark, I couldn't agree with you more. And let me tell you something about this, and I appreciate you bringing this up because I probably would have forgot about it. Obviously, went to the Pitt game today for the basketball team. There's a lot of things to like about the basketball team for you guys. Obviously, the more people that know about basketball, you'll understand more of it later on when you get to watch this basketball team. I think the rebounding has gotten a little bit better. They certainly have more physicality. They got to work on coming out a lot stronger and a lot faster. We're starting to see a lot of that again from what we saw last year. Also, too, next year with this recruiting class, Pitt basketball, I'm going to say it now, and this is a prediction. You guys can save this. Next year, 2026, Pitt basketball's back. And you guys need to learn the name Jay Kuntz, the general manager of Pitt basketball. He was Bobby Huggins, or, as I call him, the drunk Bobby Huggins bear. He was certainly a guy that was his right-hand man. I mean, that was the guy who was certainly finding guys in the portal and recruiting. Jay is truly one of the best, and we're going to start to see that next year. And just, he came in July, wasn't able to work around some of the players that were there right now, but I think they got a lot of talent to work with this year. But man, the nostalgia, I can tell you this, guys, and from not being down there very often, because obviously when I go down there, it's usually for work or something like that, when we're looking at real estate or anything, with someone's looking to buy a property or something. But man, I got to tell you, I had to post those videos just to see all the stuff in the Pete. You look at Oakland, man, it is just a nostalgia of when you're walking around and just to see the young kids who walk up and down the aisles, talk about all the former players, and you look at the history, not just of Pitt basketball, but of Pitt football. It was truly, I mean, I haven't been back to Pete in, probably like a year and a half. It was just good to be down there. And to Mark, to your question, great to have another two people that we know. Great to have them as Pitt alums. We need more and more of them, and we truly appreciate it. And just truly pretty excited about that as we go forward, and hopefully get to see more big time games. And who knows, maybe down in the future. I know people don't want to listen to me and don't want to believe it, but I think by 2031, I think that I think there's going to be some special moments down in Oakland once again, not just for basketball, but possibly for football. Looking at some of the comments here. Good question, good comment here from Marlins Barnes Truther. And we talked about this last week. Kavir Baines Marquez also deserves a ton of credit. Dude can play safety in the box. Harry, talk about this young man. I'll tell you what, the kid comes in, he's a transfer. People think, hey, he's a smaller guy. There's no way he can play at this level. There were certainly questions about that. We had Cruz Brookins back, and he continues to play at a high level. But just talk about Kavir Baines Marquez. This kid is just, tough as nails for the size this kid is. And just, you ask him to do something, he does it, and he's doing it at a high level right now.
It's funny. It feels like Groundhog Day because it was after the Florida State game. We were raving about this guy. I think he led the team in tackles down in Tallahassee. And then the amazing part, I said it then and I'll say it again now, to your point, he's not the biggest guy, but it doesn't seem to matter. Someone did their homework when they were evaluating this guy because, again, especially when you're looking at Florida State, I said this before, their tight ends were big, their running backs were big and physical. Didn't matter. He's Johnny on the spot, and they had a little bit last night. Syracuse had a little bit of momentum going, and he had that epic interception and nearly took it to the house. And plays like that change games. And in that play, I wasn't at Syracuse, but you could hear the noise level just diminish from the stadium because they were on a roll. Turned and and when you have a team struggling like Syracuse, automatically because I believe psychology does play into a game like that. They're cooked. You know what I mean? So he has just showing up consistently. He's a pleasant surprise and just a phenomenal player, great safety. And like I said, I'm anxious to see what he does next week as well. But I'm glad that we're able to bring his name up again because he's been spectacular.
And Eric, you talk about a kid that just, does what you need to do. He's reliable. Before we start breaking down some of the clips and the stuff that you sent over, talk about this as a player. And, and I thought Harry had a good point. Whoever scouted this kid did a great job. And, we talked about it. I talked about it and I sent tweets out. Graham Wilbert, who has certainly been in the industry for a long time, played quarterback at FAU, worked at FAU. It has now been at Pitt for about 9 or 10 years now. With Pat Narduzzi, was a general manager, was named general manager, and then obviously Adam Coultry, the assistant general manager. Those two guys in the general manager sense is in terms of finding talent. And anybody that I talk to in the industry says that Graham Wilbert is a guy that, especially when you look at resources, especially before revenue sharing, where you're really trying to find dollars and cents everywhere you go. Graham Wilbert is a guy who is well respected across college football because of the talent he's able to find. And I think Pitt has done a great job over the years of finding those 2-star, 3-star guys. Whether it's Jason Pinnock, Savassier Dennis. How many times, Harry, you talked about how many times did we hear somebody in the spring season when we got Savassier Dennis or saying, oh, we're taking a charity kid. Really what we took was an NFL linebacker, middle linebacker who's now starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Eric, talk about, just Kavir Baines, as a coach. And as a teammate, man, it's good to have a guy that he's ready to have his number called. But for his size and his level, he's able to play at this kind of level and just be very consistent when he hits the football field.
you know, when someone like that can step in and play that well, it has talk about the general manager, which starts from there. Being able to find that talent, but also marrying the talent with the scheme. There's always a saying, GB and I've said, and anybody else who knows ball really, don't fall in love with the name, fall in love with the name with the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a good general manager finds somebody like that, and he finds them on two different levels. One, obviously the talent, and two, the scheme fit / work ethic. Because when you come in and you play that well, when your time is called, that means you prepare well every week.
Mm-hmm.
You do prepare as a starter. And if that is happening, which it is with multiple people with these backups, that is a good practice culture. And that is a good culture within the building. And I think it's going to just bode well as this program continues to get better. It definitely starts in the summer. It's games are won more on Mondays and Tuesdays than sometimes they are on Saturdays, or whenever they're practicing. So it's great to see him do well when his number is called, but it's also, I think, just a tribute to finding him, fit the Pitt scheme, and then he's taking that opportunity, working his tail off, and he's ready once his number is called.
Couldn't agree with you more. And we're going to shift over to breaking down the tape with Eric. And obviously, Eric, you sent over a number of clips here, and I think the first one here, the Mason INT.
Yes.
Before we get started here, break this down a little bit.
So yeah, this was kind of a continuation of what Florida State was doing. They're showing a basic cover 4, which is 4 across, but it basically turns into a cover 3. And Mason gets confused by that middle safety. All right, so if you want to let this tape run just a little bit, he makes a good throw in a sense, but you're just going to watch what you'll see, like whenever he throws it, where he gets confused. And the guy on TV was actually, drawing on this too. But so I'll let you go. Keep going. Now watch the guy in the middle of the field. See how he's starting to break right here.
Yeah.
So as soon as he turns his hips, Mason's now going to go into that hole. So let it run a little bit more. See, he's going to try to hit this deep post coming over because this guy's breaking down. But then the backside safety there makes the play on the ball. In a sense, the ball is maybe a little bit late.
Yeah.
But it's also more or less, it's just a great coverage scheme based off of what Pitt likes to do. And it is something that Florida State had some success with Mason. So they were taking away some deep shots with this cover 3 version, and it was causing Mason some headaches, and it kind of forced him. And he threw a couple incompletes off that too, but this is the one that bit him in the butt.
Yeah. And to your point here, you possibly have, the window right here, but then even to your point over here, this guy breaks. I mean, now he's already starting his throwing process. I mean, by the time he sees Raphael Poppy Williams, I mean, he's open over here. But to your point, it's just late. You know what I mean? When you're looking at a tight window here, and especially too, to your point as well, it's a great scheme. I mean, look where, especially for how fast they break to make him move off of the first receiver, his first look goes to a second, and then here he is.
Yeah.
To your point,
Yep. If you rewind that one more time, basically in an NFL scheme, if you stop it right, okay, go ahead, stop, and I'll tell you when this hits stop. Stop right there. That's when his back foot should be planted, and then he should be hitting that post.
Yeah,
that's anticipating the coverage, right? Because if he hits that now, if you let it roll, if that ball's already in the air, that safety on the near the sideline can't get over. Look, because he'd hit him right there.
Yeah.
He would have hit him right there, and it's probably a touchdown.
And by that time right here, the ball's still in his hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they confused him a little bit with the coverage. He recognized it late, and by the time he recognized it, it was too late. And then that safety was able to recover.
Yeah, just a good job by by Syracuse. And again, I've said it before. Fran Brown's a damn good football coach, and obviously Coach Robinson played defensive line, a defensive coordinator, played defensive line at Penn State. Really made his name at Texas A&M under a number of different guys. It's a really good schematics. Him and Fran Brown, really good friends, very good coaches, but also too schematically what they're able to do and really mixing things up when they watch tape. Also, too, Syracuse did have a week off. They did have a bye week, certainly focusing on Pitt for 2 weeks. That kind of thing can certainly happen, and we certainly saw it here in a number of plays here. And the next clip you sent, throw here.
Yeah, yep. I'll let it play, and then I'll explain this more. This was an incomplete pass. This is one where you're going, oh no, right? And it was like an oh no throw. So if you let it go, everybody's going to remember this throw. But I want to show because it'll play at a different angle after this. Okay, that's like what is he doing now? All right, ready, stop. If he hits him in the hand, that's an NFL throw.
Yeah.
First off, he should never throw to double coverage, but he hit Jules in the hands. If that's a wide receiver, and I'm not saying Jules can't catch because he can, but he hit him right in the hands in double coverage. That's an NFL throw.
Yeah. It's not like it's a wide receiver. It's a running back coming out of the backfield, which is understandable. But man, it's just it's a good throw. It's a good throw. To your point, I mean,
hey, that's one of those throws you're like, don't do it. No. Yes, great throw. Great throw.
Yeah. It's like that John Gruden scene where he's like, hey, we can't put Janikowski out there. The guy was drunk from last night. We can't have him get on the field. All of a sudden, he hits a 53-yard field goal. He is fucking great, brother.
Exactly. But when I saw that, and again, it was my saying. I watched it. I was like, oh man, he's trying to force it, and he did force it, and he should not have thrown it. However, the ball placement, which is an NFL throw, was top notch. I mean, he hit him right in the hands. I mean, it was kind of high, but he had to get it over that defender's head. I mean, I was more impressed with that throw the more I watched it.
Yeah, tight spiral. It's right there. Damn, that's a good throw.
Because he would have came down with it because the guy went for the ball. He didn't hit him, so he would have come down with it.
Then we look at here. Great throw. Great throw to KJ here.
Yeah, you know what? This was obviously right out of the halftime after he had that shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was ripping this. So
and that's what kind of has me, and that's a great question. I'm glad you mentioned that, Eric. To your point, people were asking about Mason and his health right now. I think he's actually fine. I think Pat Narduzzi talked about that. Yeah. And to your point here, he was ripping passes. I mean, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, he was ripping, and I can see between this one and one of the next ones I brought up and I sent you to bring up. I could see him putting a little extra oomph in this ball. It's almost like I think he's also testing himself out. So watch, he hits it, boom. Right? You know what? Look at the ball placement, boom. I mean, you can't go and hand it to him any better. And then later on, if you watch him, if you recall him during the game, he gives like a thumbs up over. It looks like he's looking to the sideline, gives a thumbs like, yeah, my shoulder is good. So he ripped this ball.
There was non-contact, right? The injury when he was shot. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy when he threw it. He grabbed his shoulder, but I mean, I felt like maybe it's like just a quick little sting or something like that he had. But I mean, this is the second half. I mean, he looks perfectly fine here. I mean, he fires this thing.
It's insane, and that's what he puts it on KJ, so he has enough time to get it, turn his head, protect himself from the safety. I mean, you can't hand it to him any better.
Look at that. That's a perfect pass. Look at it, especially too. You have all that room. You want to make sure he's able to keep running, not throw it behind him. Just a damn good throw.
It's a damn good throw.
And Harry, to your point, I mean, I think he's actually healthy too. And then Eric mentioned it, the thumbs up, but I think he's actually fine because there's no way if there was a sustainable injury, there's no way he's firing a pass in like this. Do you agree?
No, I didn't see any indication that he would hurt. I mean, I think a little bit of ice and stim, and he's good to go for next week. I don't see anything major.
And looking at this one,
yeah, this is my Baker Mayfield moment.
Look at that throw, and let's just now break this down here, man. This is
look at this. This is what I call the out of structure play. What I mean by that is when you see the other angle, like how he threw it. This is those different arm angles that he does.
That's that sidearm, right? That he does.
It's that sidearm that he does. Correct. And when I look, again, he reminds me of Baker Mayfield, guys. It's not just a number 6, but look at this. He steps out, and there's a guy right in his face, 30, and he gets that sidearm going because there's a guy coming right in his face. It looks like a Peyton Manning ball, a little bit of a wounded duck there, but it's right on the money. and 82 caught it, man. I was just so impressed with this. And again, this was later on in that drive that after he threw it to KG.
Yeah.
His arm is fine. His shoulder's fine. Super impressed, staring down the defender that's actually coming into him. And that's where, again, he had the interception, bad play. He forced a couple other bad throws, but then he comes back and does this. It's just the growing pains of an 18-year-old, right? You're going to have these ups and downs, but you can see this kid's talent and his poise because he just stands in there and throws and delivers it. And it was a great, great throw.
Then this one here, we talk about a little bit of the defense, giving them a little bit of love. Obviously, just, again, a number of great throws by Mason after, in the third quarter. But here to let it run, to your point, just swarming.
Yeah, just watch this. And right whenever the ball carrier gets tackled, pause it. Right here. Look at how many Pitt guys are on him.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 guys.
That pursuit was absolutely insane. And you can see that there's 23. We're still giving him love. And by the way, Lee, the true freshman corner 28, is becoming one of my favorite players.
Yeah, Sean Lee, man, Sean Lee Jr.
He is a baller.
Yeah, he really. I mentioned him last week too. He's really balling out. It's just great to see.
Mm-hmm. Again, his dad, for all the Pitt fans that don't know, his dad was actually a legacy Penn State name. Played football at Penn State. They didn't offer him. Pat Narduzzi talked about it on numerous of schedules where, especially during a number of press conferences, talked about the stats that this young man had. Just clearly a very good football player. Use your eyes. Don't look at the stars. And this young man is a true freshman, is playing like a true junior or even a late sophomore. I mean, that's how well this kid's playing. I mean, he's just very consistent. He looks great, and there's a quarter-style defense he's made for this. I mean, give him 2 more years in this system. He's a kid that can play in the NFL.
He has great ball skills. He plays the ball well, and he supports the run. He's really, really good, really, really good player.
And to your point, Eric, just look at their eyes right here. They're already looking. They know exactly what they're seeing here. They're already trying to block down on these guys. 1, 2, 3. They're already looking and seeing, okay, hey, we got 2 guys right here, but look where he's going immediately. Right to the running back. Guys love to do that to this Pitt defense. They already know. Look at this. The ball's not even out of his hand. Look at them. They already know where they're going. All 3 of them.
Yeah, there's 3 Syracuse blockers with the 3 Pitt guys, and I don't think they blocked any of them. Look. They didn't block any of them. Well, 28 did his part. He held the contain and forced the running back inside to the guys coming. So he wasn't going to make the tackle. He had a specific job, and he did it well. Took on the block and make sure 6 turned it back inside, where he got hit like 12 times. Yeah.
And that's a hell of a job by Ryan Manilak. Ryan Manilak, Archie Collins, Corey Sanders, Randy Bates, and Tim Dowse, man. It's getting after the football. It's finding that guy.
And guys on the floor.
Yeah. And obviously, too, again, former Pitt commit, Yasin Willis, again, from the New Jersey area, wanted to go closer back to home and play for Fran Brown, who's a great recruiter. I get it. But, man, it was a tough sledding day, whether it was receiving or rushing the football. I mean, Pitt's defense was just smothering them. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And then we got a couple more here. Another swarm.
Yeah, that was a swarm. This was just a highlight montage they played in the game. Just look at the swarming. This is what I was talking about. I mean, they got nappy there with that big hit, but they look at the guys, the way they attacked the line of scrimmage. It was insane. Here comes Lindsey with a good play. That's what I'm watching. Like it was such a quick montage that come out of commercial break. I'm like, you know what? This is just that plus the play we broke down here earlier. Just how well that defensive line plays, and they swarm in with the linebackers, how they attack.
To both of your points. Look at Sean Fitzsimmons taking on 2 guys, Isaiah Neal. And obviously you love the separation here, getting his arms out. This is the old Charlie Partridge move, where basically you're teaching, especially that separation at defensive end. That's one thing Charlie Partridge would always just be able to teach on numerous levels. But look at Lappy come here, unblocked. I mean, this hit, man. I mean, he just absolutely lights just Yasin Willis up. I mean, it was just good Lord Almighty. I mean, I said a quick prayer for him when I saw this play. Boom.
That's perfect. That's perfect technique.
It's beautiful,
by everyone as well, man. It's fantastic.
I thought Ghost and Francis Breu really had a strong game last night, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
It's like, hey, what time of the day it is? It's Saturday, baby. Boom.
It's knock you on your. It's quarter past. Knock you on your ass.
Yeah. I'm a landlord and the rent's due, baby. Boom. I usually love to see it.
Yeah, like I said, I mean that montage, you could just run that back as a screensaver too.
Oh God.
And yeah, this is the last one about the defense. I just said, geez, look at this. There's no words to say. Just watch this. Jesus. I mean, Jesus. They attack better than, and I watch a lot of college football because I'm a goof. I have not seen a defensive line of linebackers attack. They got to be top 3 or 4 that I've seen so far, regardless of records and rankings. Just units that attack the ball like this.
Look, they're on skates. Look at the end of that line. They're all on skates. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Line of scrimmage, and look where they all are. The push, the level of push they're getting up front to push these guys back. It's like, the old Ed Orgeron thing. Mama said gumbo's ready, and all of a sudden, here come the boys. Boom. You just get these guys right in the backfield.
I mean, you look at this. Run it back one more time. I mean, watch the tight end come in motion. He gets thrown off his blocking route and has to recover. And then by the time he recovers, he's too late. He can't even hit his gap because 95 blows up that guard. Watch, boom. He knocks him right off his route, or right off his blocking route. So that right there made the play. 95 made the play. I mean, he tackled him as well too, but he made the play by blowing up that guard.
Yeah, Francis Breu, man, again, just a constant pressure, just getting them upfield, taking really two guys on right there. I mean,
he's so strong, and it was just noticeable all game. He was putting people on skates. He was a standout to me.
Again, and as some people like to say, he's a bodybuilder playing football. I mean, that's how strong this kid is, and just playing at the defensive tackle position. Look at the quick move. Look at his first step here. I mean, this is ridiculous. Boom. Ball snap, hasn't even had the ball yet. Here he is. Boom. He's already a yard in the backfield. I mean, this is, as terms of tape, this is just a practitioner look. I mean, you're already a yard in the background. You've already created pressure. You've already created pressure on the backside with Isaiah Neal coming from the backside. And then everybody else here already a yard deep. Jimmy Scott, Francis Breu. I mean, it's a clinic.
Yeah, but you could also see one more time with 95. I just saw something. You talked about how quick he is. Watch the guard's head jerk when he gets hit. Like his hand punch was so good. Watch the guard's head.
Boom.
It goes backwards instantly. Breu's punch, which alludes to his strength, it's insane. I mean, the guard's head. I mean, that's obviously he's a guard, a D1 guard. He's strong, but he just gets pushed back quickly, and that blows up the play.
Just that get off, man. I mean, a lot of these guys, in their first step, there's no false step here. Immediately gets up the field. He's got no false step, and immediately his hands get out and creates a separation, and even makes the tackle. I mean,
give Tim Doust a lot of credit. I mean, I don't want to. I could opine all I want about Charlie Partridge, who I was close with, and I think is one of the greatest D-line coaches I've ever seen. He had big shoes to fill, and Tim Doust has done a great job. It's the same mentality, and he's recruiting the same type of players, these squat, powerful, fast, right off, and you could see the jump right off the get-go. I mean, I give him a lot of credit. He's really worked out well on the staff.
Even right here, look at Jimmy Scott. Jimmy Scott gets here, boom. Look at the separation. Immediately, extend your arms, have leverage, create separation. Now you're 1-2. You're now 2 yards in the backfield. You solidified that end. He's going to try to get back up inside, and he can't. Great job by Jimmy Scott.
The pride of New York, Jimmy Scott. Took it to the New York team, so that's great.
That's awesome. And that's a beautiful thing. Didn't even recruit him or nothing. So it's a good eye on a number of different levels with Pitt. Yeah. It just really hits home about a number of different things. And now, obviously, we're 54 minutes in here, but we'll try to wrap this up here pretty soon here. But
JJ, can I make one request? Can you play the one where I said pancake?
Yeah.
I forget, somebody in the chat was talking about when you guys would mention Thomas had one of the better blocks, and he did. I think Bear had one of the best blocks.
Let me see here. Pancake right here.
It is. All right, so you're going to play this, and it'll be another watch 70.
Ryan Bayer. Look at the Bear, man. Even hit the referee for good measure.
Too. Watch this. It'll play at a different angle, but this guy just sit down. I think I put a different angle on it just from the TV replay. Well, here it comes. Well, watch 70. Boom. And then the ref takes 1 too for throwing all those flags too. So that's good.
You know, for good measure.
That poor linebacker's gonna have nightmares over that. Look at that.
Look at Ryan Bayer, man. Look at it. Just boom.
That's a DB or whatever, or a light linebacker. That's a light linebacker. My God.
It's like someone said to Ryan Bayer, you know what? No one likes H2O. Nobody likes Gatorade. Everyone likes H2O, baby. Come get that water. Boom.
Mama said.
Yeah. Alligators aren't nice, baby. Come here. Boom. Even the referee, he tried even running. He's like, oh, shit. Look at this stuff. Oh.
So, yeah, Thomas had a great block, but this was my favorite one. I love pancakes.
Oh.
On the field.
This is a clinic. And I remember I watched this live, and I'm like, man, Ryan Bayer just crushed this dude. I mean, it's hilarious. Look at this referee, too. He just goes, oh, shit, this man's angry. Oh, get away from me. Just great job, man. That's the physicality. I also thought the Kendall Stanley flag that he got, that's called finishing the play is what that's called. I mean, that's what you want from your offensive lineman. Anger, baby. Come get some.
That's just an absolute beautiful, beautiful football play. So Ryan Bayer, man, that was great.
I'll tell you what, Russ will be watching this later on. He'll be like, hell yeah, brother. I'm telling you, I'll be getting a text later on. But to finish it up, we go into next week, fellas. You know, for the last topic here, real quick, we go into next week. It is a 5-2 Pitt team. They are 3-1 in the ACC. It is a 5-man race for the top. Pitt is certainly in there with only 1 loss in conference. It's pretty intense right now. And before we get into it here really quick, Righty, what is Dudek drinking right now?
I'm glad you asked, brother. Hey, listen, I partaking in a New Trail West Coast IPA. It's a really, really great beer. It's about 6.5% ABV, so it's that great IPA sweet spot, man. If you follow the Bird Cave and you know our rating systems, bro, this is about an 8.2. I love this beer. Put this in your man cave or use it as a tailgate beer. Although 6.5%, you might want to be careful with how many you have. It's a tailgate, but it's a New Trail, man. So thanks for asking. So it's a great IPA. New Trails are a very, very good brewery.
And then obviously coming up here, Brian Thompson with the super chat here. It's good to see the reserve stepping up and playing well, but will any of the defensive starters return and play this Saturday? You know, I think, Brian, to the point where we were talking about early on, you know, I don't see Kyle Lewis coming back. I don't see Rasheem Biles coming back this week. Probably what we're looking at is more Stanford than anything else. Not Jaden Moore, not till after the bye week. Blaine Spires is on the docket. We'll be able to watch and see what he looks like. But after that, I think that's kind of all we're waiting for on the defensive side of the football. But it's up to Cam Lindsey and Nick Lappy and Braylon Lovelace. You know, Ibrahim, we saw him, a walk-on play linebacker here. It's going to be up to them to really hold the fort as we move forward. But last but not least, again, going into this week with NC State, fellas, you know, I'll start with Harry first. One, it's 5-2. We are certainly still in the race. Talk about the importance of this game. It's homecoming. It should be a great crowd. Homecoming is always a good time of year when we get people in there. Talk about the importance of this football game, but also, too, you know, the importance of, hey, there's got to be a home field advantage here. And obviously, I expect Pitt fans to really show up, and it should be a raucous crowd for this football team coming in here. And his pick looks to go to 6-2 on the season and 4-1 in the ACC.
Yeah. So, first of all, I agree with you. Panther Pitt, Panther fans, get your ass to the game. Right now, the season is taking an upward swing. Let me say this. I mean, what we saw against Syracuse, we saw a team that had essentially an inept quarterback and like I said, just a poor offensive line, and they were dominated. NC State's going to pose a little bit more of a challenge. Bailey, their quarterback, is battle tested. He's a dual threat quarterback. They have a good offensive line. So the way I see this matchup right now, it's going to be Pitt's beleaguered defense. When I say that, not talent-wise, but injury-wise, against a definite upgrade of an opponent offensively. And they have someone that actually can throw a forward pass. So it should be an interesting game. I do believe in momentum. This team seems to have an influx of it right now. And we just highlighted the attacking nature on defense, everything going on. So it should be fun. This is a winnable game, but and in terms of, let me say this, in terms of the injuries, I think we all know, even if someone might shock us and come back, we're not going to find out till game day because Deuce isn't going to divulge that at all. And I don't blame him. I guess maybe he wouldn't. But this is point being, we're not playing Syracuse. This is offensively a better team. And I just hope that the defense can step up again. They've been doing it consistently. I just hope they can do it again. But I don't see any reason why we can't win 4 in a row.
Couldn't agree more with you. And then Eric, obviously the NC State Wolfpack coming into Acrisure Stadium, certainly sitting at 4-3, 1-2 in the ACC at 3:30 on the ACC network. Talk about, how important this game is to go to from that 5-2, 6-2, get closer into that circle, especially with these last 3 games coming up to where we stay, right in the thick of things. I mean, it's right there. We only have 1 loss. We are certainly right in the middle of it. Talk about your opinion just on the importance of this game and how Pitt fans should show up for this football game.
Yeah, they should show up. I would be there myself, but I have a daughter at another college that I have to go attend on Saturday. So, but I will be catching it. So the daughter wins over Pitt, or I would be there. Yeah, 100%, because these next 2 games, and obviously we'll just talk about NC State now. In a sense, it's must win for the fact that Pitt is a better football team than NC State.
Mm-hmm.
Because they lost to Louisville, because they lost to West Virginia, well, more importantly, Louisville, who was finding out was actually a pretty good team as well. But if they want to stay in the hunt for an ACC championship game berth, these are the games you have to win to set yourself up for Georgia Tech and Miami. Notre Dame in a sense too, but it's a non-conference game. But just to set yourself up with Georgia Tech and Miami, you can't drop a game that you should win. Which will this will also be the same message next game against Stanford. So this is a must-win for Pitt to have any ACC championship game aspirations, which they should take care of business. And all we should, as Pitt fans, should be worrying about is scoring 1 more point than NC State. Style points don't matter anymore. I think they don't matter as much as they used to in college football.
Good question, and a nice question here from Righty over to Harry. Got to get your thoughts on this recommendation right here.
So first of all, Uzal is nectar of the gods. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but so it's essentially Greek moonshine that tastes like a black licorice. But I love it. I love it chilled. So Plomari, Plomari, is a great brand to try. Metaxa Uzal is another one. Those 2. So it's Metaxa, Metaxa. Again, drinking it cold, it's wonderful. And then Plomari, which is Plomari. Those are the 2 best brands out there if you try them. I know right now it's flu season, COVID season. Drink Uzal, you'll be a healthy human being. It'll clean you out of all that shit. You'll feel great. If you go blind, don't blame me. That's all I'm telling you right now. This Greek's recommending you drink it, but don't yell at me if you go blind. But you'll love it. It'll warm you up in these cold nights we have coming now. So everyone should have a bottle of chilled Uzal in their refrigerator. It should be mandatory across the United States.
Couldn't agree more with you there. That's great. And actually makes me want to actually try it now. That's the biggest thing for me. I'm actually going to try it.
You know what? If I'm on here again next week, I'll have my Uzal. I'll do shots of Uzal throughout until I'm loaded. We'll just keep doing it.
Oh my God. Yes.
I can sleep it off. I go to work on Monday morning. So, but righty, you're a good man. It's a brilliant question.
Listen,
Go ahead.
I feel so like less of a human. I'm drinking a canned beer, and you're talking about all this. I feel like I should just turn my camera off. I'm just gonna go home and go back to somewhere in the corner and cry because I'm like, I feel.
Brother, I'm drinking Propel. I'm drinking Propel.
I'm with you. That's the sad part. I'm drinking the same damn thing. I should have Uzal right now. Yeah.
Another good one from Righty. you need to give a shout out to the Pitt volleyball team. They came through with a big win. Babcock had a record-breaking 41 kills. I couldn't agree more. Pitt volleyball team, exceptional. Again, they talked about it at the Peterson Event Center today.
She's ridiculous. She isn't human. She's ridiculous. She's a machine.
She may be the top athlete at Pitt right now. I think that is a valid. And then the amount of Babcock jerseys that were being sold today at the Peterson Event Center was pretty crazy. So that was cool. And Max, Malachi Thomas can be dangerous for us if he consistently catches the football.
That Max, first of all, his dad is absolutely brilliant. I've said this before. You know what's funny though? I was going to comment on this because Eric showed the clip of him catching the ball.
Yeah.
Malachi Thomas has ridiculous talent, and his blocking really showed up against Cuse. His inconsistency catching has driven me, and he did this during the blue gold game as well.
Yeah.
But to see him get more involved, if he could just get stickier hands, that kid could be a pro prospect.
And I think people talked about it early on in the season. The Boston College game, he pretty much dropped a walk-in touchdown in the first game for Mason Heinchel. So that has certainly been a talking point to say the least. But guys, I think that righty here. Thank you, Harry. Excellent. I think that's going to be it for us here tonight, gentlemen. We've now hit an hour and 5 minutes. Cannot thank you guys enough. Harry, before you hop off, tell them where they can find you again on all your socials.
So first and foremost, I'm at Pitt Guru, which has been my OG name for a long time, PITTGURU. If you go to harrypaceris.com, I've written a Amazon bestseller on autism. I'm proud to say that I'm becoming one of the more predominant male voices nationally for autism. I'm an advocate. So again, harrypaceris.com. You can find out about me and my book. And like I said, take a look at Pittsburgh Sports Now as well. I tweet their stuff out like crazy. Mike's great to work with, and he's a great human being. So that's it.
Again, we got just under 1,000 people. Make sure you guys go subscribe and make sure you help out with all the socials. And again, Harry and his book, I mean, I cannot tell you enough. It is a must buy, especially to the leadership portion of what Harry has done, especially for the men in the industry. That is huge. Eric, where can they find you, brother?
Yeah, obviously on Twitter, as you can see, as the hashtag there, or the @ symbol at Bird Cave. Also the YouTube channel, the Bird Cave. We're growing our channel tremendously, the Bird Cave. We just wrapped up this weekend a really special podcast with high school coaches and players. And if you obviously did not go to our high school, it doesn't matter. This conversation went about brotherhood and playing together as a team. If you just enjoy listening to how guys play together as one from all different backgrounds in life, and you hear the appreciation we had for our coach who coached us hard when we played high school ball, and how it actually breeded great men in today's society, raising families. This is a powerful conversation that's coming out on our channel later this week. And we had Tommy Pipkins on there, who is a basketball legend, and the way he talks about his greatness. Wait till you hear what he says about how he viewed his greatness. And then we won that year's 93 WPIL championship, 33-2, went to the state championships. And then the success that Valley High School had in the early to mid 90s, even the late 90s in football. How we had that success. It's a great conversation if you are a WPIL fan and a fan of football and a fan of just team.
Great conversation.
And brotherhood, a great conversation. So follow the Bird Cave on YouTube and on the Twitters. But thank you as always, JG, for having me on.
Anytime, brother. And again, once this ends, go over to the Bird Cave. Follow it now. That way you're able to know when it gets dropped immediately. Watch it live. It's a great conversation. And again, you don't have to be a football guy. As long as you're a life individual and want to learn, the Bird Cave is a great place to go and to make sure you can able to watch those shows. There's great conversations. I certainly go on there as well. Eric and GB are truly the best. Make sure you guys go on there, subscribe here tonight. Well, guys, that's going to be another episode here for Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. Guys, the show is what it is, not because of me or anybody else, but because of each and every one of you who are able to tune in every single Sunday for the weekly Sunday conversation. MCAP 66, the next one where luckily Eric and Harry separate a little bit of time to jump on the show here, which I am beyond thankful for. They take time out of their day to jump on the show to talk a little bit about Pitt football and to talk about life, so we truly appreciate it. The next podcast with these two on will probably be next Sunday. I'll have stuff out later on during the week, a little bit of preview shows, anything that pops up. Obviously, the head coaching carousel is certainly in flux. Florida now opened up. Virginia Tech opened up. Soon to be Florida State opens up. Potentially $100 million check being written for the Norvell and his staff. What that will look like. Where does James Franklin go? Is there a potential that he goes down to Florida State, Florida? Does Ole Miss end up losing their head coach with Lane Kiffin going to Florida? The dominoes are getting ready to fall. So make sure you guys subscribe here, and we'll certainly have the conversation. Guys, cannot thank you enough, as always and forever. Cannot thank you for your help here tonight. As always and forever, hail to Pitt and hail the ACC. We'll see you guys next time.
All right.